going on?
Hey, what's up, Dan?
Hey, I need you to get going on that Comic-Con video.
No problem. Just right after this game here, just finish this up. What's up, Matt?
Not much, man. We're actually a little bit behind on the one-up show this week, so I'm gonna need you to take over one of the segments.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
I need one this Comic-Con clip.
Well, yeah, but I mean the show goes out on Friday, right? So we're Wednesday. I kind of need to get this.
Comic-Con was last week. Like that stuff's not getting any younger. We can get.
Oh yeah, but come on, like nobody really
Robert,
cares. I mean, like it can come out
Nobody
next
cares.
week. It's not gonna be that bad. Dude, the show's
Kinda
got to
attitude
go out.
of
If the
that.
show doesn't go out, then like the Comic-Con thing can wait. That's just
go
how
out.
it is.
What's up, Skip?
You want to do Retronauts today?
Sure, yeah, just after this game here.
No.
No. Yeah, no.
No, I need you on this Comic-Con
Yeah, he's
video,
totally
man.
busy. We need him for this one-up show stuff,
Everyone
man.
else
It's
on me
like,
bailed. I need him for Retronauts. He's the only sole Calibur player available.
Dude,
I need to do Retronauts today. It's the only time.
yeah, but dude, one-up show, Friday, video podcast, a little harder to do than your audio
Retronauts on
stuff.
Thursday. It's a lot of editing.
Oh, come on, a lot of editing.
Shane.
Yeah, get Shane.
How many
darn
times
it.
do we have to hear the same thing from Shane?
Oh, whatever, dude. Like,
I'm the biggest fan in the office.
Oh, come on, man.
Look, man,
I love Soul
Get
Calibur.
it's the show.
Dude,
It's
you
got
guys! I'm trying to play here. Can you shut the fuck up?
Jason, you're fired.
If I could fire you, I would.
Soul Calibur will never fire me.
I like Geometry Wars Retro Evolved and the original Geometry Wars. I skipped Waves, but I watched people play it and I was like, this is cool.
Yeah,
and then I saw Galaxies and I was like, I don't know.
I like Galaxies, but this is for all intents, the truer sequel.
I really couldn't be happier with some of the stuff that they've done. Like, if you were a Geometry Wars fan, they listened to all your complaints that you had the first time through. They realized people were playing to beat their friends' scores. And now when you're on the mode select screen, it just shows your friends' scores. It's leaderboards right there on mode select.
It is like a game for Geometry Wars players now. It's a lot more challenging. It's not. I don't think ultimately it's as fun for anyone to just pick up. It's a lot more punishing, and like you told me yesterday, man, it feels like it's trying to kill you at times.
It does.
And
It feels like it feels like a quarter muncher now. I kind of felt that way with the first Geometry Wars, and I got really obsessed with it and played it a whole fuck ton and got really good at it, got high scores. I can't help but wonder if it's just a little bit of my noobishness for this new version that's affecting me, or if the game itself is actually harder.
I like the fact that it doesn't start with the old mode evolved. The evolved. The problem with it was that after you got good at it, that first 30,000 or 40,000 points that you would go for, where it was just slow burn until it got really, really fast.
The whole system of having to unlock all the modes in the beginning, I think, is really clever because you unlock them all within a half hour of just playing normally.
Fast, right.
You learn skills that you have to have in the other ones, which is kind of like the perpetual learning curve of the game. Is you'll go play pacifism for a bit and get better at just moving without shooting, then go and use that in King, the parts where you're outside the circles and can't shoot, and it's all these kind of little bits you learn in the other modes feed into each other, and you just kind of generally get better at it.
I don't know what my favorite one is, because I really do enjoy playing all of them. In fact, what I was thinking when I was playing it the first night, me and Matt and Jay Fresh were playing, and I was thinking, God, I wish this had random select, because we were just randomly selecting a mode here and there. But I do think that King and Pacifism are the most interesting for me because they're totally new and different. And King, I love the way that it works. I love that when you're in the circle shooting, the snare drums and the bass drums kick in, and then as soon as you leave the circle, it like the music changes and gets slower while you're gathering up the little nublets. And it's not like it's like a new thing. King of the Hill has been around in multiplayer games for a long time, but in this context, I really, really enjoy it.
And it's cool that they took the geoms, the multipliers, which
Yeah.
were in, that was Geometry Wars Galaxy's big introduction. And in Galaxies, it also acted as like an RPG thing where you like leveled up a little helper and such. Here, it's just purely for the multiplier, but it works really well in all the modes. Like in King, it's a balance of leaving your safe confines to go and get as many as you can and then going back. And in like Deadline, that's with the 3-minute long mode, which is kind of like Pac-Man CE. It's like the focus is on playing as efficiently as possible and collecting them.
The way that they've handled the multiplier with the geoms is really, really super smart. In the old game, when you die, you lose your multiplier.
Right.
Now, like having the multiplier go up to whatever 1,000 or 500,000. And getting these really big scores is just so much more satisfying.
It's interesting because it also it makes it so when it's not as frustrating when you have a high multiplayer and you die, it doesn't get a reset.
Right.
But it also loses some of the tension for each individual life, I think, because you're not like, fuck, I'm really high, I can't die right now.
That's true, but I think they use the various gameplay modes to increase the tension instead.
Well, and the game is it's harder now, so it's more tense just playing it,
And
regardless of whether or not you have a multiplayer.
And in multiplayer, it also increases the tension because there's so much more chaos going on screen at once.
And you don't have bombs, which I think is really clever because it balances a lot. Because most modes aren't any easier with more people, and if anything, Sequence, the one where you have to beat them in 30 seconds apiece, 20 different games, and those are actually harder because you only have with 4 players, you still only have 3 lives to start, and you don't have bombs fall, which are crucial to that.
Right.
So it balances really well, and that for me, I can get farther by myself. But then today we were playing Evolved, and we got pretty damn far with the 4 of us.
Right.
Bit of a bummer that it's not online. I mean, it is understandable because it is. There's so much crazy crap going on.
Yeah, could you even do? I mean, I think we got the Geometry Wars Galaxies guys when they were doing that game. They were in the office and they were like, "Yeah, we tried to do it online, but it was just not. We can't. It's too fast. Geometry Wars is too fast." We started playing Matt Fresh and I at my house, and we have a big screen TV, and so it was really. I mean, it wasn't that hard to figure out who you were.
Well, I played
It
some
happened every
on
once in a
this TV here,
Right.
and
That's where I first
and
played it
4-player
too,
here,
yeah.
and it's rough. It's just and even the difference on the larger TV in the demo room I was playing on between 480p and we were playing on that at first. Matt, Leon, and I were something it's not quite right, and then we switched it to 720p, and it was a world difference.
Right.
Just that difference in resolution makes it so much easier to maneuver when everything's exploding. I think it's a significantly better looking game overall. I mean, the colors are more vivid, and even going back to Geometry Wars, even the grid in your ship is so much more defined now, and it's I think ultimately a little too busy. I don't like that some of the difficulty comes from not being able to see. That was never really the case in the first Evolved.
I guess I like the busyness. I like the insanity, but the thing that does bother me is old. It's from Geometry Wars Retro Evolved, which is that the camera is zoomed in when you're in single player, so you don't see the full game board, and so there are a lot of times when you're dodging all this crap down here, and you move up, and all of a sudden this thing that spawned in the corner, and you didn't know was there because you couldn't see the corner, comes out and kills
Which
you.
is interesting they didn't take, because Galaxies had all sorts of shaped levels, different sizes and ones that are just different shapes. So I'm surprised this is still all on one grid, but it does kind of maintain that that singular arcade feel where you're kind of playing the same basic game just with different twists on the modes.
Yeah, it's funny because it wouldn't have bothered me except for in multiplayer. The screen is all the way zoomed out, and so then I'd never have that problem.
And it does seem really crucial, especially in a mode like Waves, where everything, you can't see them coming in single player. You're over here, and they always generate off the walls, and you don't have any choice except to hope that the one that generated isn't where you're flying.
I mean, it doesn't feel like a mistake or anything. It definitely adds more difficulty to the game. It's just in a way that I don't necessarily know if I like it. It feels a little cheap, but and it's only because in multiplayer you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's a crazy value for $10 even this time. It's all the new modes I love, especially Pacifism and Sequence. But my main thought is that it's no one mode is as good as Evolved in Geometry Wars Evolved, because that I think had a really great balance of challenge and just the way it ramped up. And now I think the Evolved mode, which would be the closest thing to it, I think gets hectic too quickly and suffers a little bit from the issues of everything being too crazy and just kind of being too tough. And It's fine now because you can bounce around to other modes and all that, and that's great. But that's what the experience is now, is going between the modes and all that.
I like that the evolve mode in this game it moves at a faster pace, because I didn't like there were Geometry Wars 1 games that would last like 15, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was
like,
a tough part.
If you want that game still exists. I don't necessarily think it's harder or easier, which is good, right? That's how you want it to be. It's just a different way to have fun, and especially if you got friends around. I don't know, it's a total blast.
Yeah, the last patch seemed to have some weird bugs. Like I was trying to create a new Death Knight, and they all had the same hairstyle and face.
Right. I couldn't get the quest button to work either. Did you try that? Nothing came out.
That's a problem.
The great thing was, like, I was taking it in stride because it's a beta, but you could actually see people in chat bitching. This fucking game's broken. Yeah, moron, it's a beta. That's why you're playing it.
A hero. That's what you once were. You stood boldly against the shadow and purchased another dawn for the world with your life.
The Death Knight stuff is amazing. I think that it's actually, I don't want to like oversell it or overhype it, but I really think this might be the best stuff they have yet done in this game. So you can tell that they've learned so much about how to make quests, how to keep things moving, how to change the environment and what characters are doing on screen as you're progressing through a quest chain. It's really amazing.
There aren't quests where you're supposed to go kill squirrels or anything. It's more like
They're killing people.
Yeah, it's like massacre all these civilians who were huddling in terror.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, you do feel pretty evil.
Yeah.
For a while. I mean, that's I don't think it's really a spoiler. You start out as a member of the Scourge. You're raining down a lot of death and destruction on people.
Yeah, they really kind of pulled no punches with those quests. I mean, I could swear, and if I'm not making this up, when WoW first came out or when they were first making it, they talked about how, if you're in the Horde, you're going to be evil, but you're only kind of like evil. That actually really you're sort of good too, because there's real evil out there.
Like I find myself kind of playing a little more evil. Like as soon as I saw another Death Knight out in the wild, after I'd gone through the starting stuff and could actually attack other people, I just like dismounted and kinked him, because he was attacking a mob or whatever. I was like, screw it, time to kill people.
I mean, at least in these opening Death Knight quests, it's like you're killing unarmed civilians who are like cowering in the kitchen, And actually, as you do it, you're getting whispers from Arthas himself, so you get the whisper text in your chat window that's like, get him.
How are the Death Knight mechanics themselves? Like, how does the class function compared to other melee classes?
Well, it's a little complicated. I mean, there's no mana bar, but you got the runes on your sword, so there's 6 runes that refresh. Your various spells use runes, and then they take like 10 seconds to come back. But you also have like a runic power bar that fills up as you use runes, and there are different spells that don't use runes but use that, like the runic power stuff.
The thing that I didn't like about that, though, the fact that everybody gets 2, is that it really kind of left. I mean, there's really kind of no thinking at all. I mean, if we all get the same spells or abilities, and we all have the same, 2 red, 2 blue, 2 green. When I was playing and I hadn't spent a lot of time like studying the mechanics, it was sort of the equivalent of like button mash. And I was just kind of like, oh, the red one's ready, now the green one's ready, now the blue one's ready. I mean, I wasn't applying any strategic thinking. I was just watching the cooldown and then I'd hit that one again.
You can play a little more strategically if you want. There is that option for sure.
Blue, red, blue.
Do you just start off with 46 talent points?
No.
No.
You start with 0, and then as you go through the quest chains in the intro area, you will sometimes get talent points as a reward.
I just like the way they've come up with like a neat solution for everything, like how you get those talent points that way. You earn them by doing quests, by completing quests. How you get your mount, because you're starting as a level 55 character. So how do you get a mount, right? Because you didn't earn it back when you were level 40 or now 30. So there's a quest actually where you have to go steal a mount. So they did really neat kind of creative solutions for for every aspect to determine how you're going to actually get this character where it would be had you started from level 1. The one thing I was bummed about with that, though, is I created a gnome Death Knight, so he's a little death bird, and he's running around, and you have to go into this stable. There's a stable there in the human town, and they've got horses of all different sizes all around, and I thought, maybe, I was hoping, you know, because what I did was I ran up and I stole a little pony. Yeah, for Deathbird, and I rode him up the hill, which was great. It was a fantastic animation. But then the actual Death Knight mount, he takes a regular pony and turns it into this undead creature. Well, then it was a full-size horse. I was completely bummed out. So one example of a quest that I think it's probably going to end up being everybody's favorite, and we can go ahead and spoil it, is the ship, going onto the ship. There's basically they want you to get behind enemy lines, the enemies being the humans, and then kill all the humans who are in front of you. And everything about this whole quest chain, in fact, this is my fear. This whole quest thing with the Death Knights is so good that eventually, I mean, 'cause you finished it, right? They have to stick you back into the regular game.
And yeah, by the time you're done with that, now you're in Eastern Plaguelands, and you're like, oh.
And you just have like the same quests waiting you. Like, oh fuck, I did all this already. Yeah. And then now I have to go to Outland again.
To see what's going on in Darrowshire, or whatever the hell it's called.
Right.
You know what, I gotta say, the instance that I did with my hunter, even like sort of some of the like green and blue drops that were coming off the creatures there, they looked pretty cool. And it's very nice that getting to Northrend is much more convenient than getting to Outland was.
I took a boat in Menethil Harbor to get to there, and it's the world's longest boat ride. Well, it starts doing a tour around the bay. You can actually see the dock over there, and you're going like, just fucking go over there.
The Zeppelins are instant, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like it does this like slow thing around the perimeter. I twice almost like jumped off and just swam for it. I'm just like, okay.
So these two zones are they're on opposite sides of the continent.
The two starting zones.
Right. So I guess they're trying not to funnel everybody into the same place.
Right. Well, that was the lesson they learned from Burning Crusade, right?
Yeah.
When everybody tried to get into Hellfire at once and couldn't. So yeah. I did notice that I only spent a little time in Northrend, but as soon as you get out of the, get off the dock and there's a few exclamation points, so you get quests right away. And then the second you're right outside of the town, well, the town is being besieged, basically. So they throw you right into it right away. I mean, just trying to get the hell out of there takes a little bit of effort, which is another good touch, I thought. Like, the whole point is the humans are we're landing on this continent to take on Arthas, and it's not like, well, we're just landing here and nothing's going on and maybe we'll see the enemy. It's like the enemy, in terms of the lore, they're there waiting for you and they don't want you on their fucking land. Again, it's Blizzard like taking this epic story and really making it work in the context of what you as a player do, which they're just getting better and better at it. It's kind of scary, actually. I mean, it's doing exactly what they always do, which is making me want to play again,
Yeah, I really don't know if I'm just gonna want to stick with the Death Knight now and level that up all the way, or...
I think it's the Death Knight for me.
I don't know. I'm awful attached to my hunter.
Is this the end? Like when we get to level 80? Is it over?
Will you
doubt it.
Are we going to see the end of screen?
Like Mortal Kombat versus DC versus WoW.
That's what we all want to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. We need Blizzard on that right away.
Tell everyone why we're here.
Okay. Hey guys. We've been working on Soul Calibur 4 coverage for the past 21 days. I brought in these two fools. Chris Jara?
Yes.
Hara? Or whatever. Chris Hara and Alex Jenkins. They're a part of the North Cal scene, and they say they can beat everyone, including us.
I can.
Oh.
I have a friend who I'm trying to get into Soul Calibur with 4. He's typically a Virtua Fighter player, but he never really bothered to figure out it. And he played against a bunch of scrubs, and they would mash. And I was trying to explain to him that there's never any fun
in an opponent who it's impossible to anticipate and it's impossible to condition, you know. And it's like you have to have someone who's like got enough level where you understand that they're trying. There's like some purpose behind what they're trying to do, and then you feel a sense of accomplishment when you defeat them. You're like, I knew you were gonna do that, and I did just the opposite thing. And then when you get into like 3 layers of thinking, where it's like he's thinking, I'm thinking this, so I'm gonna do this. And there's that initial phase when you get a new fighting game. You got to reacclimate yourself to it. To someone who's not following every iteration of the game, well, they could look at the game and say, oh, it looks nice, or I've seen those moves before. But to us, they're so enormous, and that's the thing. They have this line to walk, and it's like, you don't alienate the people who make you what you are. You want to bring in new people, and it's like just enough change. But then people complain, it's just the same game. It's just the same game. We complain, you ruined my character. You ruined my character. So it's like anytime you make a competitive game, you know, it's tough. It's like they don't always do it, but sometimes they'll pick one character and they'll, like Ivy this time, they'll change the inputs. That's like if you're playing a first-person shooter and all of a sudden you have to have inverted mouse. Why do that to me? You know?
A lot of people are probably not going to like that at first. I'd say it's worth adapting to. It's worth figuring out. You will discover new stuff about your character that might be much better than it ever was. New just frames, new text stuff that makes that character just different.
It does seem like they made more changes this time than they've made in a while, though. Like critical finish is, on paper, a big change, even though it doesn't turn out to impact that many matches.
The only time I've ever done critical finishes is by going in practice mode and setting the stats so that I can do them by turning myself to max and them to min. In a normal course of play with competent players, is it ever going to happen?
It definitely will happen, but the way I see it is like an instant kill that's a lot better is just ring outs, because you can get those every round without any setup for it.
Well, I always just forget about it. Like, it happens, and I miss my chance like almost every time.
When I see my armor breaking, I just panic. I freeze up, and I was like,
it changes your style.
Oh shit, I'm gonna be
You're not trying to like get a look at whatever like skin pops out?
All of my characters that I play, I made custom outfits for them so that immediately when something breaks off, the only thing underneath is underwear, because it totally like distracts people when they're playing.
The first time it happened between me and Ryan, and he was playing Keelik, and I knocked his low armor off, and it just totally broke our concentration.
The character stuff though, I mean, that's cool too. Normally, I don't really pay attention to that, but then I started messing with it, and I really got into it. You know, I mean, there's like a pretty good range, and importantly though, is that no matter what pieces of gear you put on someone, they more or less still fit in the universe. It's not like before they stick out like a sore thumb.
What characters that used to be considered like kind of weak or bad have gotten juiced to the point where they're now playable and, like really contenders?
Valdo, my character. He used to have a lot of gimmicks, a lot of trickiness that it took a while, but once he got the hang of it, you can kind of, you can go around it, you can punish it. Nowadays, he's got almost Half-Life combos. He's got really, really, really powerful moves. He feels entirely different. It's like an entirely new character. This man's got a crazy new stance. He was always able to crawl, but he doesn't have any of his old moves, brand new moves. You can do lows, highs, little mix-ups, tech traps, and they're deceiving, unless you're really, really used to them, so it's very fun to play.
What about
Al Gore? Yeah, Al Gore definitely seems pretty powerful right now.
Overpowered.
He is on disadvantage when he attacks a lot, and it's sometimes hard to get a fast character off of you, so he definitely has range with the bubbles. Even though they don't do a lot of damage, you can definitely do some good stuff with them.
I know I can GI them, I know I can walk by them, but I get hit by them a lot. It's just annoying.
The mix, it's like a Sagat player in 3D. Mix like this version, which will hit people on the plane and the lows and highs.
Yeah, he's got his teleport too, which is crazy.
And that backup chair move thing.
You may be seated now. That's my name for that move. It's like if someone is walking backwards, then you put them in your chair. And in Yoshimitsu, I know he's got some cool transitions now.
Oh, they gave him a lot of new stuff. Like they gave him some of the stances he had from Tekken 5. So he has like a back turn stance now. He also has a new stance where he'll have both swords and he'll hold them. He'll be able to do double sword attacks.
I discovered a big change with him. Every single time, you would set somebody up, you do like a turn around and stab yourself, and if your sword went through yourself, and you would get a victory. Right. Now it counts as a double KO if you both kill each other. Really? So that's a huge change. That happened like in a couple matches. You pretty much sacrifice of one round each.
What characters have been nerfed the most?
I would say X is really nerfed compared
Yeah.
to the last game.
Zhenghua, both Calibur 2 and 3 was really good. She's just horrible now. I mean, she still has some like decent tools, but most of her best stuff from part 2 and 3 is gone.
She used to get a lot of advantage off hits, but now you have to block more because they don't give you advantage anymore.
So basically, once I start attacking, I just lose all attacking momentum.
Yeah, it's harder to gain momentum with her.
Oh, great.
I get any mileage out of her new fake?
Her new fake, like, it really doesn't work that well. It goes off track and anything you do will miss.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help.
I've tried to get go with Tira and Soul Calibur 3, she was horrible. But she's now even more unpredictable because she has 2 moves. She's like schizophrenic. So she'll be like happy and she'll only be able to do certain moves then. And then she'll be like, you know, gloomy, which is like, then she'll be able to do like other moves.
Right.
She'll take damage when she's like gloomy. And that can randomly switch her happy to sad. And you can't control it.
Yoda's like, you can't throw him, and it's not, you can't low throw him or ground throw him or air throw him. It's just the animations won't sync up because he's too small. I mean, I guess you can compensate for that with other ways, but it's kind of annoying though. I mean, just to suddenly like, here's the one and only guy that you have to like think entirely differently.
But he's so weak, it doesn't really matter at this point. You can
Yeah,
actually
I see.
CF him better than any other character for some reason.
Well, who's the dumpiest? Who do you think is the
Besides
dumpiest
Yoda.
donkey in this game?
Besides Yoda,
Yoda.
I still think Nightmare's pretty bad in this one. I mean, there will be people disagreeing with me though. Hilda's probably gonna be one of the worst characters.
Yeah.
I have a feeling about that.
Unfortunately.
She's the kind of character when you go in, you know, training mode with her, you're like, wow, there's so much potential here. You charge horizontal or vertical attacks by holding the button, and the duration of the charge determines the moves that come out of it. Also, there's like while rising charge attacks and stuff like that. But when you're actually playing and trying to constantly keep those buttons charged, you think it's ultimately going to pose a problem for a lot of people?
I think it will get people in more trouble than it will help them. And it kind of puts you in a position where the opponent can just keep attacking you.
But what if it turns out that there's some genius out there who's got like an eternal metronome?
Exactly. I knew
There's always gonna be
some
someone.
badass tournament Balrog players back in the day, you know, that played that same way.
Like I would charge characters were like always my weak spot in Street Fighter games, and then you always meet someone. It's like, okay, apparently it's not a problem.
You find any like major glitches as you
There is one glitch that we found that was still in pretty much every iteration of Soul Calibur, was the turnaround glitch. You maybe right after doing a throw, you'll try and do a move, and you'll immediately just turn around and do it the other direction for like no reason.
Sometimes when you block a move and go into neutral, the next move just goes through you.
That was pissing me off so much. Like I was Lizard Man and I'd go down and then go to the throw in that new stance, and he found a way to like
Always launcher him right.
Yeah.
In between when he's doing the mid.
Sean, you said like when you did your review of this game that you would, you know, consider raising the score an entire like letter grade if the online post worth it.
I'm taking the game home tonight and I'm going to keep playing and playing. I mean, that's the thing to explain too. In the EGM review, we had no access to online, and we say very clearly, this is a review of the game without online. We will revise this based on, you know, on how the online works and stuff. And that's really important for me for all the reasons I was saying. I mean, if I can go home and even a friend that lives in Arizona or something, I could say, hey, let's play Soul Calibur. I mean, that's enormous for me. I could play it as long as people are playing. The only thing that would stop me ever playing the game is not having people to play with regularly, you know? How confident are you in your assessments over term? Like 6 months from now, after you've got like 100 other people in your level or higher that have been playing it?
It's going to be pretty consistent. There's going to be most people, you know, probably, you know, discovering what we've discovered. But there might be that really, really good move from somebody they, you know, discovered as hidden potential. Anybody who we say sucks, like right now, can be totally different 6 months from now.
Name an example in SC2 and SC3.
I'd say Soul Calibur 2, everybody thought Cervantes was horrible. And then I think they discovered like instant Geoduray, which is like a really quick move for him to go into his, you know, Psycho Crusher move pretty much. And then they saw him at a tournament level. So people, you know, initially jumped to conclusions saying he sucked, don't pick him up, he's slow. Because the first Soul Calibur he was great, you know. And so could happen again. All the veterans are coming back. Like people who quit for Soul Calibur 3, you know, are back for Soul Calibur 4. But we're always, you know, skeptic. We're thinking, all right, for 3, they let these glitches in. They, you know, they give us one game, and then like 2 years later they give us an arcade. which not many people played. This time there's promise, because they, like we said, we discovered a couple glitches. They can patch it. They can go ahead and update it. Maybe this character has a broken combo, full life, infinite, whatever. They can patch it. They can do whatever. And so that's encouragement for the entire community that this can be a very prolonged, experience. This can be something very good in the long run. A lot of the veterans are hanging out at caliburforum.com. You'll see a lot more in-depth strats than what me and Alex put together.
You'll see like a 30-page thread dedicated to a single move.
There's a couple people who, like wall of text, pretty much, like the entire time. So
if you want some quick strategies, of course, look at the guy that you guys were working on for us.
We got several combos that they haven't discovered yet. So, which is pretty cool.